Trains, and automobiles. The movie. Races are still being called, votes are still being counted, and the message from the midterms is getting louder. Tone it down, Mr. President. As you might guess, the president is doing the opposite. Democrats just won a Senate seat in Arizona for the first time in 20 years, no doubt helped by the president's anti-immigration policies and his vendettas against Jeff Flake and John McCain. Democrats are expanding their gains in the House as more races are being called. We're projecting a 38-seat gain right now, no doubt helped by the suburban revolt against the president's behavior, but also helped by the president's beef with Republicans like Mark Sanford, who was openly critical of Trump's behavior. Mr. Trump endorsed Sanford's primary opponent, and now that reliably red seat is held, you guessed it, by a Democrat. Democrats flipped 7 governors' mansions, too, including Kansas, where the president helped oust the incumbent Republican during the primary, choosing loyalist and voter fraud firebrand Chris Kobach instead. Now, you guessed it again, a Democrat is governor. But the president is clearly not reading the midterm results as a mandate to tone it down because he's trumping it up. Today, he mocked and belittled one of our closest allies, saying, quote, Emmanuel Macron suggests building its own army to protect Europe against the U.S., China, and Russia. But it was Germany in World Wars I and II. How did that work out for France? They were starting to learn German in Paris before the U.S. came along. Pay for NATO or not. It's been 1 week since the election, and the president has lashed out at an ally. He's trying to undermine the integrity of the election in Florida. He fired his attorney general, replacing him with a Mueller critic in an appointment that is being challenged in court. He may be about to oust both his chief of staff and his Homeland Security secretary. His White House's decision to revoke a journalist's press pass is being fought in court, too. He's threatened to investigate House Democrats if they conduct oversight. I think we could probably go on and on and on. Folks, the president's temperament, impulsiveness, and his personal vendettas look as if they might create some very real long-term problems for his presidency and for his party. To talk about all of this, I'm joined by tonight's panel. Julia Ainsley is NBC News national security and justice reporter. Sahil Kapoor is a national political reporter with Bloomberg News. And Dan Balz is Washington Post's chief correspondent. Thank you all for being here. Dan Balz, I want to start with you because you have observed many a president in periods of both good fortune but also stress. This president now in a period of incredible stress. I think we all knew that, you know, what Republicans shorthand as the tweets were a problem, that his temperament was potentially a problem, but it seemed to really come through in these results.
It did, and it's been striking to me in the wake of the election, which obviously has not been as good as he had hoped, and it's been very good for Democrats, particularly in the House, is the degree to which he has amped it up, as you suggested in the opening. The behavior that he has shown in the days after the election, the attacks last week on 3 female African-American correspondents, the way he handled himself in Paris over the weekend, the way he has kind of gone underground in other ways, suggests that he feels extremely embattled, that he is pulled in, that in one way or another, he doesn't quite know the environment that he's in. And so the behavior that we've seen on and off over the first 2 years of his presidency seems more intense now. I don't know where that's going to end up. I don't know where it's going. I don't know the decisions that he may be making, but it seems like we're in a period of instability with the president, and I know we've said that before, but this is particularly striking.
Yeah. Well, and Julia Ainsley, I mean, some of the decisions that this president makes when he is under pressure are ones that can actually get him into further real jeopardy.
That's exactly right. And people who have been talking to today who are really worried about the